Okay, think about your day, right? You're constantly tapping buttons on your phone, scrolling websites, maybe trying out a new app.
All the time.
Well, every single one of those clicks and swipes, someone actually designed that experience.
Yeah, designed it to be hopefully useful, easy, enjoyable, accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
It's like this invisible layer shaping how we use digital stuff.
Exactly. And the folks behind that, they're user experience or UX designers.
And their jobs are becoming super important.
Mhm.
Pretty much every company needs them now, especially as everything keeps moving online.
Which is exactly why today we're doing a deep dive into one specific way to get into that field. The Google UX Design Professional Certificate that's on Coursera.
Yep, we've got the actual course description page here. It's full of details.
So our mission today is basically to unpack this. All right, let's dive in. So for someone who's maybe just hearing UX design properly for the first time,
Hmm.
how does this source explain it? Like, what is it?
Well, the source puts it pretty clearly. It says UX design focuses on the actual interaction someone has with a product.
A product being like a website or an app.
Yeah, or it could even be a physical thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the main goal is making those interactions, useful, enjoyable, and accessible. Easy to use, basically.
Okay, so it's not just about making things look pretty. It's more about how it works and how it feels to use it.
Precisely. It's the whole experience.
Yeah.
The source mentions that an entry-level UX person might be coming up with ideas, doing research on users, designing wireframes, mock-ups, prototypes.
Whoa, hold on. Wireframes, mock-ups, prototypes. Can we quickly break those down? What are they?
Good point. Let's simplify.
Yeah.
Think of building a house, okay? A wireframe is like the super basic blueprint, just lines and boxes showing where things go on the screen, the layout, no real design yet.
Got it. Bare bones.
Then a mock-up is like adding the paint and furniture. It shows the visuals, colors, fonts, images, but it's static. It's just a picture of what it will look like.
Okay, so more visual detail.
Right. But a prototype, that's like a model home you can actually walk through. It's interactive. You can click buttons, move between screens, really simulate how the final thing will work. It lets you test the flow before building it all out.
Ah, okay, that makes a lot more sense, like steps toward the final product. So why is UX growing so fast? The source says it's a high-growth field.
Well, think about it. The digital world is just exploding. And companies get it now. If your app or website is confusing or frustrating to use, people will just leave.
Yeah, I've definitely done that.
Right. So good UX isn't just nice to have anymore, it's essential. The source straight up says nearly every company needs UX designers, and there's actually a shortage of them right now. High demand.
That definitely sounds like a field with potential. Okay, let's zoom in on the Google certificate itself. What's its main goal? What's it trying to do?
According to the page, its core purpose is to get you on the fast track into a UX career. It says you'll learn skills that are in demand, and interestingly, it includes AI training from Google experts, too.
AI training. We'll have to come back to that. But what if I have zero design background? Like none at all. Can I still do this?
Yeah, that's a key point they make. It's explicitly designed as beginner level. It says no degree or prior experience is required. And you learn at your own pace, which is a big plus for flexibility.
How's it actually set up? And realistically, how long does it take?
It's a series of 7 courses, and the estimate they give is about 6 months if you put in around 10 hours a week. It's all online, so you fit it in whenever you can.
And the number of people who've taken this, it's kind of wild, isn't it?
It really is staggering. The source mentions over 1.2 million learners enrolled.
Wow.
And despite that huge number, it has a really strong rating, 4.8 out of 5 stars, based on over 83,000 reviews. That's pretty impressive consistency.
Okay, 4.8 is high. Let's get into the nitty-gritty then. What skills are you actually going to learn? What do you walk away with, according to the source?
So it teaches the whole standard UX design process. The source breaks it down into steps. Empathize with users, define the problem, ideate solutions, create wireframes and prototypes, test them, and then iterate based on feedback. You learn to follow that whole cycle.
Right, so it sounds very process-oriented. What about actually understanding the users, the research part?
Yep, big focus there too. You learn the basics of UX research, how to plan studies, figure out who to talk to, what questions to ask.
Okay.
And then actually doing it, conducting interviews, running usability studies.
Yeah.
That's where you watch people try to use your design.
See where they get stuck.
Exactly. And then, crucially, you learn how to synthesize all that information, make sense of the feedback, find the patterns, figure out what needs changing.
Are there core principles they teach? Foundational ideas?
Yes, definitely. The source highlights things like user-centered design, always keeping the user's needs front and center, Also accessibility, making sure people with disabilities can use the product, and equity-focused design, thinking about how design choices affect different groups of people fairly.
That all sounds important, but what do you actually produce? Like, what tangible thing do you have at the end to show an employer?
Okay, this is super practical.
Yeah.
The program guides you through building a professional UX portfolio. And it specifically says it includes 3 separate, complete end-to-end projects.
3 projects for start to finish.
Yep. That portfolio is absolutely crucial for getting hired, so building it is a core part of the certificate.
Makes sense. The source also lists a bunch of specific skills. Can you highlight a few key ones?
Sure. So beyond the overall process, you get skills in things like ideation brainstorming techniques, design thinking, that whole problem-solving mindset, usability testing, like we mentioned, storyboarding, visualizing user journeys, information architecture, organizing content logically, writing user stories describing features from a user's perspective, and, importantly, getting practical experience with the main design tool they teach, which is Figma.
Ah, Figma. That seems to be everywhere in design job descriptions these days.
It's definitely a major player, yeah. The source says Figma is the primary tool for the digital design work. But you also use things like spreadsheets, word processors, presentation software, standard office stuff.
Right, basic tools. So can you give us a quick tour of the 7 courses, just a flavor of the journey?
Sure, it seems to build logically. Course 1 is Foundations. Basically, what does a UX designer do day to day? Key ideas like user-centered design, accessibility. It also introduces design sprints, these short, focused work periods.
Okay, the basics.
Course 2 gets into the start of the process, empathize, define, ideate, learning to understand users, pinpoint their problems, and brainstorm solutions. And this is where the source first mentions learning about generative AI for UX work.
Ah, the AI piece again. Interesting, it comes in early.
Course 3 is when you start making things tangible, building wireframes and low-fidelity prototypes. So storyboards, paper sketches, digital wireframes in Figma, and then simple, non-interactive prototypes, also using Figma, getting your ideas down visually.
Right, the blueprint stage.
Course 4 is all about research and testing, planning usability studies, actually running them either moderated, where you're guiding the user, or unmoderated, where they do it remotely, then analyzing the feedback and improving the design.
So testing early and often.
Exactly. Then Course 5 ramps it up, creating high-fidelity designs and prototypes in Figma. This is where you make things look polished, build detailed mock-ups, create those interactive hi-fi prototypes, learn visual design principles, work with design systems which are like reusable component libraries, and even practice getting feedback and design critiques.
Getting closer to the final look and feel.
Yep. Course 6 focuses specifically on designing for websites, tackling information architecture, how to structure content logically, building sitemaps, understanding common web layouts. And you complete one of your big portfolio projects here. They mention skills like typography and color theory specifically for this course.
Makes sense to have a web focus.
And finally, Course 7 is designing for social good and preparing for jobs. You apply everything to a project with a social impact goal. You build prototypes for both a mobile app and a responsive website, one that adapts to different screen sizes. Plus, a big focus on job readiness. Things like creating user personas, deep dives into human-centered design, doing competitive analysis, and again, more AI skills practice.
Wow, okay, that does sound like a pretty comprehensive journey from zero to, well, portfolio ready. You mentioned AI quite a bit there. How exactly does the program integrate it? What does the source say you learn to do with AI?
This is definitely a timely addition. The source says you learn how to use AI in UX directly from Google experts. It lists specific things like using AI to boost your overall design skills, help generate draft personas from research data, assist with iterating on designs faster, improve how you communicate with stakeholders, maybe simplify complex design frameworks, and even get help writing the text for your portfolio website.
That's pretty cool, using AI as a tool within the design process itself. Okay, let's shift gears to the outcome. Someone completes all 7 courses, builds their portfolio. What does the source say about career prospects?
It gives some pretty attention-grabbing stats, specifically for the U.S. market in 2024. It mentions over 58,000 open jobs in UX design.
58,000 open roles.
Yeah, and it states a median entry-level salary in the U.S. of $117,000.
Wait, say that again? $117,000 median for entry level. That's quite high.
It definitely jumps out, doesn't it? That's the figure reported in the source. And beyond that market data, it also cites a success rate from a 2022 survey of their U.S. certificate grads.
Okay, what did the survey find?
It found that 75% of those graduates reported a positive career outcome, within 6 months of finishing the certificate.
75%. And positive outcome means.
The source explains that means getting a new job or a promotion or a pay raise within that 6-month window.
That's a very strong claim, 75% within 6 months. Does Google actually help people find these jobs? Is there a connection there?
Yes, according to the source, completing the certificate gives you access to apply directly for jobs at Google itself, and also with over 150 other U.S. companies in their employer consortium.
Oh, interesting. Any big names mentioned?
Yeah, they list examples like Deloitte, Target, Verizon, and they add that this employer network is growing internationally too, with groups in Canada, India, Singapore, Indonesia.
So what specific job titles could someone realistically aim for after this?
The source positions it for entry-level roles. So things like UX designer, maybe UI designer, focusing more on the visual interface, UX researcher, or potentially specializing a bit, like an entry-level visual designer or interaction designer.
And is there support during the job search, beyond just the certificate?
The source lists several resources: access to an interview practice tool, mock interview sessions, workshops on building your resume, and even career coaching sessions. It sounds like they've thought about the whole job-seeking process.
Okay, that's helpful. What about going the other way? Not into a job right away, but maybe using this for college credit.
That's another angle the source covers. The certificate has an ACE recommendation. ACE stands for the American Council on Education, and that recommendation suggests it could be worth up to 10 college credits in the U.S.
Could be, so it's not guaranteed.
Exactly. The source is careful to say it's a recommendation. Each individual college or university decides if they'll accept the credits and how many they'll actually grant. There's also an ECTS recommendation for Europe, potentially up to 9 credits. Same caveat applies. The university decides.
Do they list any universities that are known to potentially accept these credits?
They give a few examples of partner universities that might recognize it, yeah. Places like Illinois Tech, OP Jindal Global University in India, Heriot-Watt University of the UK, University of North Texas. But again, the source stresses you still have to apply and get accepted to the university first, and then they evaluate the credit potential.
Right. And how do you prove you finished it and show that recommendation?
You get the usual shareable certificate, but this source also mentions a Credly badge and transcript. Right. Credly is a platform for verified digital credentials, and that transcript apparently shows the actual credit recommendation from ACE or ECTS, which you can then share.
Okay, got it. Let's wrap up with the practical stuff. How much does this actually cost?
Right, so in the U.S. and Canada, the source says it's $49 USD per month, and that starts after a 7-day free trial.
$49 a month.
Yeah. And they estimate that if you stick to that 10 hours a week pace and finish in 6 months, your total cost would be under $300 USD. They also mentioned the cost might be lower in other countries and that Coursera offers financial aid if needed.
What if you start, pay for a month, and then realize it's not for you? Any refunds?
The source says no refunds after the 7-day free trial is over. But it's a monthly subscription, so you can just cancel at any time and you won't be charged for the next month.
Okay, cancel anytime. And if someone's on the fence about even starting the trial, can they see the material first?
Yes, that's a good point mentioned. You can audit the courses for free. Auditing apparently lets you see most of the course materials, like videos and readings, without actually paying or doing graded assignments, so you can get a feel for it.
That's useful. And languages, is it just English?
It's available everywhere in English, yeah.
Yeah.
But the source also lists Turkish, German, Spanish, Arabic, Russian, and Indonesian Bahasa as currently available, with more planned.
Okay. So boiling all this down from the source material, this Google UX certificate seems like a really structured, quite accessible, and very job-oriented way into UX design.
Yeah, it covers the core skills. You use the main tools like Figma. You build that crucial portfolio with 3 projects.
It integrates new stuff like AI, connects you with potential employers.
And it's all designed for complete beginners, no degree needed, plus that potential college credit pathway.
It really does seem designed, as you said earlier, to bridge that gap from having no experience to being job-ready relatively quickly.
That definitely seems to be the goal presented to the source, yeah.
And thinking back to that statistic, that 75% of U.S. grads surveyed reported a positive career outcome within 6 months. It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It's a compelling number.
When you see flexible online programs like this aimed at beginners showing results like that,
right.
How does that start to change the picture compared to, say, a traditional 4-year degree for getting into these kinds of high-demand tech roles?
That's a big question.
And maybe more personally for you listening, what does something like this mean for how you think about learning new skills or shifting your career path in this, constantly changing job market. Definitely something to chew on.